So we had 50,000 of these compounds to choose from, which one we actually choose to go after. It was Berkeley, so we went the one that was most weed-like. That is not, you might think, being Berkeley. It's actually this plant right here, Artemisia Annua, sweet wormwood. Artemisia Annua naturally makes a compound called artemisinin. This is a very, very effective anti-malarial drug. And it's this peroxide bridge here that's actually highly effective against the Plasmodium parasite. In 2004, the World Health Organization recommended artemisinin in combination with a couple of either one or two other drugs for treatment of uncomplicated malaria. So a little bit about malaria. It's actually caused by a Plasmodium parasite that's transmitted by females Anopheles mosquitoes. So only the females will bite you, and they'll inject the larva. And basically, as it grows, it destroys the red blood cells. This area shown here in yellow in this map is the area where malaria is endemic. Here, the pink and green dots are all areas where there's been shown to be resistance to the current class of drugs used to treat malaria, which are the chloroquine drugs. Malaria basically puts half the world population at risk. It's a very devastating disease. It happens, again, you can see back from this map, the areas that it happens aren't necessarily the most developed areas of the world. In 2008, there was about 243 million cases of malaria diagnosed. So not only do you catch malaria if you live in these areas, you usually catch it 2 or 3 times a year. You'll be out of work or whatever for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And in the last reported year, in 2009, there was 863,000 deaths attributed to malaria. 85% of those deaths are children under the age of 5 or pregnant and nursing women. So it's hugely devastating to the younger population. If you actually wanted to treat every case of malaria that came up a year, you need about 189 to 327 of these artemisinin combinational therapy treatments per year. And if you wanted to do that, you need about 150 to 200 tons of artemisinin per year. So here's a plot actually in England of artemisinin where we're growing it. But to put that in comparison of where we stand now, if you actually wanted to treat every single case, you need about a 2 to 3x increase in production from the plants. More importantly, you would need to decrease and stabilize the production price and eliminate stockouts. So one of the really important things to know about artemisinin is it actually has a very short shelf life. It only has, because of that peroxide bridge, which is the effective part of the compound, it only has about a 6-month shelf life. And the plant takes 14 months to grow. It has a 14-month growing cycle. So you can imagine that the price, depending on the availability of the plant, fluctuates, and even the time of the year. If you have a bad crop one year, you can have severe shortage of artemisinin 14 months later. The price goes anywhere from $100 to $400 per kilogram, which means the price can be anywhere between $1 to $2.50. To put that in perspective, a typical family has a healthcare basically subsidies from the government in these countries are about $4 per year. And if a treatment costs $250, you eat through your budget really, really quickly. People can't afford it. If they can't afford it, they can walk into the drugstore and it might not be available if it's the wrong time of the year.